Yes, people, welcome to another edition of From a Third Eye View on Pi Radio, hosted by myself, Flawless Mr. Take Note, and I'm joined by my regular co-host JV and Mr. I've seen more in your night. I've seen more in a night than you've seen in your life, Stro. And we are also joined by a very, very, very special guest who I will let Stro introduce.
Got a special guest in the building. So for those of you that love the YouTube football world, you'll know this man, the godfather of that. Palmers, we've got Smiv. What's good? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Clap it up for Smith, man. Clap it up for Smith. Clap it up for Smith. Clap it up.
Much
We
appreciated.
appreciate you coming on, Smith. Yeah, man. We appreciate you coming on. Thank you. But yeah, Stro, I will let you kick off the show, Stro.
Yeah, so obviously knowing you, obviously big Spurs fan. Believe you still got your season ticket. So just briefly touching on it, what were your thoughts when Pochettino left and when you got Mourinho? And what are your thoughts on Mourinho's job that he's done since he took over Spurs?
Right, so yeah, absolutely gutted when Poch went. Loved him to bits, I really did. There's only one manager that comes close to him, which was Martin Yole. People forget about him, but no, I really love Poch, and I was gutted, absolutely gutted to see him go. They should have let him go, let him carry on for at least the end of the season. I think he'd at least earned that from what he's done previously. But yeah, no, they've brought in Mourinho, and I was saying to people the other day, like if someone had told me we'd have Mourinho at Tottenham a few years ago, I'd have been buzzing. But now I think he's past it. Personally, I think his tactics are old. I think people can play him at his own game now. I think people can get into his head. I think he just says stupid things, and I think he lets the players down at times. And the gaffer is the one person that you want at the front of the club, protecting your players. And I think he's let a few players down in his time. He's done it at Man United with Luke Shaw in particular. He's done it at Spurs a few times to a couple of players as well already. Saying that though, I did see there was a stat, and I can't remember how long ago it was, but Poch's record when he joined Spurs was very, very similar to that of Mourinho's. They're very, very similar stats. So if this is to be a good thing, I guess it's a case of Mourinho just finding his way with this team and with these players, and maybe with the new season coming, when that is, maybe he could put his own stamp on it. So I'm willing to sort of give him a chance, but yeah, I'm forever looking over my shoulder and thinking what could have been with Poch.
Yeah, I that was my thinking on that. Like, I believe if I'm a big fan of Poch, and I believe had he been back properly, obviously from a Spurs perspective, you'll be able to tell us better. But I believe had Levy backed him properly in the transfer market, I believe he's definitely could have won a trophy. I 1,000. Like, people talk about your Champions League run and all this about he was lucky and the wheels were falling off and that papered over the cracks and things. And I don't agree with that. I think the fact that you've got to a Champions League final, bearing in mind he had spent no money, is an incredible feat. I think that's an incredible feat. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was always going to be that way, and I think everyone knew that. But yet, there are certain Spurs fans that were just like really impatient and really almost pissed off at Poch as well, because there was a section of the Spurs fans that didn't like Poch, but they didn't
Oh,
realise that
really? I didn't know
they
this.
didn't realise it was the people that run the club that deal with the money, and they seem to think Poch was the reason that they weren't buying anyone. But actually, when you work under Daniel Levy or Levy, it's his way or no way. So, and you've got to understand it as well. We're paying for one of the most expensive stadiums in the world, so there is going to be a dent. You only have to look at Arsenal to understand that when they bought their stadium, there was a period where they weren't buying as many players, and Spurs did it 2 seasons in a row, no players. They had a net spend of whatever it was, but even with that, yeah, as you say, we managed to get to a Champions League final. Some people could call it lucky, but some people could call it, a fantastic run. The Man City game in particular, maybe on another day we wouldn't have taken that, but the fact that we've got Poch in charge, the players were playing for him. That I think that in itself, I think a lot of the players just wanted that. They focused on that Champions League run and they let the Premier League go. When really, what should have happened is, we wanted to see both going at all cylinders, but it's not always easy, especially in the Champions League. These players have never, a lot of them have never had that sort of experience before, so they're going to put their all into it. So, yeah, it was a shame how the next season sort of panned out, and what with Eriksen, he left on sort of bad terms as well. He's been a fantastic player for us over the years, and you get that a lot. You look at other players from other teams moving on who have been instrumental, and they leave on bad terms, and it's just forever bad blood then. I liked Eriksen for what he did for Spurs as well. I think it's time to change. We had a group of players where I felt, all right, yeah, we've got a chance to do something here. The year Leicester won the Premier League, that was our big chance to gain a Premier League title. And it just so happened Leicester took it. Who would have thought it? But yeah, no, I would have hoped during that time we might have, picked up some silverware in terms of just an FA Cup or a League Cup, just something to hold on to, just to shut other teams up, really. But it wasn't to be. And unfortunately, the way football is these days, they're just not patient anymore. People don't believe in building foundations, like long-term foundations. So that's a shame. We've got to start again.
Yeah.
And what have we got out of it? We've got an amazing stadium, lacking atmosphere, I must admit, but that will take time. A deal with the NFL, which brings in tons of money, a naming rights stadium pending, a lot of money behind us. So who knows? Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, no, I look at the era that's just gone, the past 5 years, 6 years, and think, well, it's a shame, real shame. But I did love it. So on to Mourinho. Let's see what he can do. You got to back him. You got to see what he can do, mate. So we'll see. Early days yet, though.
Yeah. Do you believe? Because from what I've seen from the outside looking in, Levy never really has backed managers heavily in the transfer market. I was very surprised that Mourinho went there, and not because I don't think that's nothing against Spurs. I just think him and Levy are total opposites. Mourinho likes to spend money. Levy doesn't really like to spend money. So to me, it really seemed like a marriage of convenience. Because to me, it made no sense. It seemed Levy was just thinking short term. Mourinho does get trophies. So let's see if he can come here and deliver a trophy, because we all know how this is going to end with Mourinho. You alluded to it earlier when you mentioned he lets his players down, and that is Mourinho for you.
Yeah, he's done some strange things, some really strange things. But touching on Levy, I actually like him, and I speak about a portion of the fans not liking Poch. There's a huge portion that don't like Levy as a chairman, and they actually realise that he hasn't spent enough and he's not spent enough. But to be honest, what's he done recently? He's actually given the club some fantastic foundations. We really, in the early 90s with Alan Sugar, it was terrible. We were nearly out of business at one point. We could have been relegated. So what Levy has done, and it's smart, is we're one of the richest clubs in the world now. We've got an amazing asset, and we're not in that. It looks like debt, but it's been paid back in such a small amount, and the amount that we're going to be earning from it as well, from other things that are going on in that stadium. He's definitely got us. Rooted foundation-wise, and now it's a case of just building on from that, because that will generate a hell of a lot of money. With Mourinho, he's not been able to spend the money yet, but I think the thinking behind it is, with this stadium, it can bring in a lot of money. With a naming rights pending as well, it could bring in even more. So potentially he's looking at that and saying, okay, well, if you give it a season or so, then you'll get your money. But even that, he went out and got Ndombele. He was a fantastic player. He's not really been able to show his potential yet. But that was a lot of money. I can't remember the amount, but it was record signing. So he has spent a bit of money, but it's just not. We've not seen the rewards of it yet. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. I'm sure it will come. I think we're a bit of a sleeping giant potentially, or it could go completely the other way. But I think money talks in football these days, and if you've got a lot of money, you've always got a chance. So we'll see.
True. JV, what are your thoughts on Spurs and Mourinho going there?
Well, I just want to ask a question based on something that Smith just said. In terms of the infrastructure, and so I didn't realize at first how good the infrastructure was, which you have got now. I.e. the ground, which is one of the best. I think the game that he's played a game. I think it might have even been the opening game. It was the ceremony and everything. And I was like, wow, I was actually quite blown away by the ground. And then I went on to see some clips of the training ground and everything. So my question is, with all of the infrastructure, new ground and everything you've got, would you rather, in a fantasy world, are able to exchange that for a trophy? Or would you like to keep things how they are now with Mourinho, in the faith that he's going to. I think what Mourinho could do for yous is maybe what he did for United in a way. We have to realize it did kind of stabilize a bit. He did cause a bit of problems. He did stabilize it a bit, but then he's left a better platform now for someone else. Do you get what I mean? So is that the kind of job that you're expecting Mourinho to do, or you're expecting him to be the one to take you back to glory days?
I guess a bit of both, really. I think what I do think is he's probably come into this job thinking, yeah, I'm Mourinho, I'm going to win a trophy. And that's what a lot of fans thought as well. It was weird. Like, all right, we've got Mourinho, so we're going to win a trophy because it's going to happen. But you've still got to do it. That's the thing. So, and I think he can. I think he can win us a trophy, even if, like I say, even if it's a League Cup or an FA Cup. But these sort of things are forgotten about in a year or two. And it's, you know, you look at Twitter and football on there, everyone's just bantering each other all the time. Oh, what have you won? When did you win this? This is like, that's nothing. We've done this in the last 20 years. Like, I think everyone forgets it. It's either if you've got history, you can boast about that. If you're doing well at the time, you can boast about that. And if you're doing both, then you're cushy. But if you're Spurs, you're screwed. So it's just like, I think Mourinho will bring some glory days back to us. Whether he does it in a way that he's around at the club for a long time, I don't think so. Just judging by his track record, I feel like he could win something for us, no matter how small, and then move on. Because I feel like his ego would be dented if he doesn't win something. Because everywhere he's gone, he's won something, hasn't he? He's always got a trophy at least for the club. Typical Spurs would be the first ones where he doesn't win something. So I think he's going to stick around until he does, and I'm sure he will. And we've got the team to do it. But then you look at the other teams that are picking up players left, right, and centre. The money involved, you know, your Liverpool's, your Man United, Arsenal could creep back up, and even teams like Wolves coming into it now. Leicester getting stronger as ever. So the English game at the top is getting stronger and stronger. Forgot Man City, sorry, but I don't think any of you care. You're right.
You are 100% right. None of us care.
It's getting competitive up there. So yeah, for me to say, yeah, we could win a League Cup, because that was our sort of way through back in the day. The other clubs didn't take it seriously, but actually you see Man City celebrating that like it's the best thing ever. Yeah, people do take it seriously when there's silverware at stake. So yeah, no, man, it's going to be tough, but I'm sure we can do something. We've just got to hold on to Harry Kane. That's my main thing, and I don't think he will leave. But we've got a ghost in the house. Let me just shut that door. 2 seconds.
It's cool, no worries. And just while Smiv closes the door, we've got a couple of people in the chat. Shout out to Faris, said underrated channel and podcast. Big up, lads. Yo, appreciate it, Faris. I'm gonna shout you back on Instagram as well. I appreciate that. 1 second. Bear with me, people. This is new. This is me running this. This is all new to me. You feel me? It's all new. It's all new. Why is it not popping up? There we go. Yeah, the SS says underrated. Appreciate it. Thank you. We got questions for you actually. There we go. What does Smith think about Tanguy and Dembele? So I'll let him say that, and then Stroh, you can ask him about Harry Kane, which I think he was going to.
Yeah, no, but I watched him against Man City in the Champions League before he joined, and he looked fantastic. Standout player, man of the match. He's come to Spurs, and I think he scored on his debut. I think he did anyway. He did, didn't he? Yeah. I think he looks fantastic. He really does. You know, he reminds me of like a Yaya Toure type of player. I think he could be really, really, really good in the Premier League, but he's just finding his feet, and he just seems to have this like sort of niggling injuries where he can only last like 10 minutes, so we have to bring him off. But when he gets over that, he's gonna be amazing. I've seen rumours, you always see him, that they're gonna get rid of him soon. But to invest that much money in a player, they've got to hang on to him. They really do. It's the sort of player you build a team around. So fingers crossed he comes into it, really.
Well, yeah, funny you should mention rumours. In a rumour that we were linked with him, and I was thinking, I remember watching that game against Man City. Him and Fekir, them two in the midfield, absolutely destroyed it, and it was a powerhouse performance. It was, and Ndombele was strong, powerful, quick with the ball in. It's funny you should mention Yaya Toure, because that's exactly what he reminded me of. So yeah, would Ndombele be good at Liverpool? Yeah, but I just, like you said, I do not ever think that once you spend that amount of money on a player that you're going to let him go after a season, especially with the potential that he's got. And he's only like 23, 24, so he's not even really in his peak yet.
That's it,
so
mate. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't catch it. Did you say something?
Yeah, what did you say, Stro? You cut out at the end. Say the last bit again. You cut out at the end.
No doubt he'll definitely hit the heights. What's expected of him, obviously, once he gets over the niggling injuries and stuff. But you briefly touched upon it a minute ago. One thing I do want to ask you about is, obviously, you've seen Harry Kane's comments. If I was a Spurs fan, I'd be deeply worried. What were your thoughts on that when you first seen it? And do you think if a club came in with 200 million, do you think Levy would sell him?
I don't know. It's really tough because like up until those comments, I was always adamant that no matter how much money was offered or tempted for him to leave, he just wouldn't. I felt like he was a bit of an old school player in the respect that he would be loyal to the club. Maybe not. Maybe he has got aspirations above Spurs. Maybe he does want to. I think in an ideal world he would want to win stuff with Spurs, but a player of that caliber, he's gonna wanna win a Premier League. He's gonna want to win a Champions League. And you look at some of the players down the years, like Shearer, for example. He's missing a little bit out of his cabinet, isn't he? So does he want to end up like a Shearer where he could? And I think he will. I think he will beat Shearer in the all-time Premier League goals, the way he's going. But he's going to probably want some accolades to go with it. And whether he can do that at Tottenham, probably not. So maybe someone like a Man United who have got an even bigger budget and can probably go on and do things, probably could be tempting. I'm on that. I've just got my Spurs out on at the moment. I'm just hoping he doesn't, because we really, really need him. We've struggled for years for that out and out striker, and we've had some fantastic strikers down the years like Sheringham, Robbie Keane, Defoe. We've been lucky to have some really good strikers, but no one like Harry Kane. He's he could go missing for 80 minutes, but then he'll get a hat trick. He's that good. So. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, what do you think as a Man United fan? It must excite you, obviously.
Harry Kane.
I think you take that deep. That's why I let you go. Yeah. I think you take the deep deal. That's all. Go on.
I'm in two minds about him. The only thing, what does me with Harry Kane is his injuries, especially in the past few years. For the amount of money that we would have to spend on him, no doubt he will get us goals. And I think it might be one of them that changes a bit of the way we play as well. I think we're onto something at the moment with the pace in the side. But he will definitely get goals. The only thing what I think is, like I said, it's the injuries. And I think that's why it might not be a bad idea for Spurs to cash in on him. Because he is definitely someone, like you said, he can go missing, he can, pop up and get you a hat-trick. But I think with the age what he's getting to now, he seems like he's slowed down a little bit recently as well, in terms of his pace. And I think he's reminding me of like a bit of like a. I don't want to say this because it sounds a bit disrespectful, because I don't mean it to be. But like when Michael Owen had a few injuries and he doesn't look as.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you know what I mean?
Takes his pace away from him. He's a different player. So every player has their strengths, and if you take away, I mean, to be honest, like Kane isn't known for his pace. He's known for his shooting ability. So if he gets the ball anywhere around the 18-yard box, there's a good chance he'll score. And if he's got the ball in the box, he's almost always going to score. So he's got that. And what I would say there is not a lot of players lose their touch. Not a lot of players lose their shooting power. It's normally the pace. But like you say, if he's injured, he ain't even going to get on the field. So that's something that you need to sort of think about. Would I cash in, or would I? In fact, if we did get 200 million, does that excite me? Yes, but then we've got the experience of obviously selling Bale for near on 100 million, and what did we get out of that? We got like a full squad full of. They all went after that. None of them really made an impact, apart from Eriksen, who stuck around. Lamella's sort of there, but he doesn't really do too much. The rest of them, I mean, Paulinho somehow ended up at Barcelona. He become a better player. I don't know how that worked out, but there was good players. There was just I just hope we wouldn't waste that money. So if you took Harry Kane away from the squad, what am I going to want? At least 3 really good players. Really, like I'm talking really good. So would we get a Dybala in and another striker to go alongside him or play in and around him? Probably. That would be something that would excite me. But if we just sort of like just frittered it around with a whole new squad that Mourinho could play with, I wouldn't be excited, because it's going to take time to gel. Oh, it's another season, give him a chance, and suddenly we're falling behind even more. So we need it. If we're going to sell Harry Kane, you need instant impact. You need to replace those goals straight away. So that's the two ways of looking at it. But if I had a choice, no, I absolutely wouldn't sell Harry Kane. I love him to bits. He's a sort of a local lad. Grew up where my dad lived in Walthamstow. Got a lot of time for him as well. I think he's a proper professional, and he's shown that it sort of doesn't matter how many times you sort of get knocked down. He's someone that can, get back up and go. The amount of times he went out on loan, I lost count of how many clubs he went to. This is how I got my season ticket. Actually, I went to a lot of youth games watching Spurs because you get your points up quicker and you go up the table quicker to get your season ticket. And I saw a lot of Harry Kane. He was always getting loaned out. Leicester, Norwich, Millwall, Leyton Orient. He went to every single club, came back, tried again, got sent out. And the one thing I love for Tottenham for is never letting him go. And he's come back and he's got in the team and he's been in it ever since. He's a fantastic player. So hopefully we hang on to him.
Yeah, man, I hear that. And to the few people in the comments as well commenting, we will get to questions at the end. So any questions you have for Smith, a couple questions have popped up, people asking about Spurs and your opinion on things of that nature. But yeah, to follow up the point JV made about Harry Kane, if United did go and sign him and splash, say, 150 million for him, I'm not against it because he guarantees you goals. But like JV was saying, for me, it is his injury record, number one. And then number two, I prefer, just my personal preferences are more fluid front three. So that's why I would prefer a Martial in there with a Rashford and, say, for instance, a Sancho rather than a Kane down the middle. Because if Kane's down the middle, he's going to play down the middle all the time. Like, he might drop off short, but he's not really going to, say, interchange as much as the other two. So that's all that is for me on that sense. With Kane, because I've heard people mention it, and obviously, like I said, you watch Spurs week in, week out, and as good as Kane is, when Son plays down the middle, to me, it seems that he's more effective because his pace and movement causes more teams issues. So obviously, in your best team, I'm guessing you would have Kane through the middle. But is Son more effective down the middle? Like, if Kane's injured and Son's playing down the middle, are you fussed with Son playing down the middle?
No, not at all. No, Sonny's a fantastic player. I do like him out on the wing when he's playing with Kane. But as I said before, Kane does go missing sometimes for sort of 80 minutes or so. And sometimes he goes missing for 90, but he makes up for it in the goals that he does score over the course of the season. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's the few times that Kane has been injured, all Spurs fans arms in the air like, oh, why didn't we sign another striker? Why didn't we do this? But actually and we seem to think that because Kane's at the club, he's the number one and no other striker needs, or no other good striker will want to come in because they're not going to be able to almost dethrone him. But actually what we've got really pacey wingers that can come in and play through the middle. Son, for example, Ali can do a job up there as well. We've got Bergwijn up there as well. Who else? Mine's gone blank. But yeah, we've got players that can sort of do the job. Lucas, for example.
Yeah, I was just about to say that more
as well. So yeah, there's a few players, but it becomes like if Kane's in the team, it's like he's your forward, and it's sort of wings in. But if he's not playing, then it's almost like your Man United fluid front three, and we've got it all going, and that is kind of more exciting to watch. I'll be honest, because one up top, yeah, it can be a bit of a drag sometimes, and it does encourage quite a defensive game. And as you know, like with Mourinho, if he can park the bus, he will, and you start to think, why have I paid all this money for this season ticket? Because it's just so boring to watch. The Poch team, like that was so. I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed watching the team that Poch sort of carved out there. So yeah.
The reason why I laughed is because I could see the depression on your face and like the deep inhale of breath when when you said. So you've already witnessed what United fans have gone through and what Chelsea fans have gone through in the past in terms of Mourinho, like, because it gets to that point where you watching it and you like, it's just boring. Like, win, lose or draw is boring, and you know he's gonna dig players out, throw everybody under the bus, blame everybody. Like, that is Mourinho. Go at the board, blame the fans. It was the name of the guy? I want to get your opinions on it. What was his name now? And he said, oh, was it Parrott? That's it, the striker. And he mentioned that he was like, the fans don't know what he looks like. Well, surely if the fans don't know what he looks like, it's your fault because you need to play him. Like, what's your thoughts on that and how good you think Parrott actually is from what you've seen from him?
I haven't really seen anything. All I see is, like I say, I used to go to a lot of youth games, so I probably would have seen him, but no, I don't anymore. All you see on the Spurs Twitter is like updates from the reserve team. It's like, oh, Parrott popping up all the time. He's smashing them in at sort of youth level. But no, I don't really know too much about him. That's just me being honest. I'm sure there's other Spurs fans like, yeah, he's done this. But no, I don't. If I'm being honest, not many people know exactly what he's like. You can't argue with Mourinho though. He's the gaffer at the end of the day, and if he says he's not ready, he's not ready. But I just kind of wish sometimes that you just take a punt, especially when Kane's injured, and knowing that Sonny, well, also got injured. So why are you not bringing him in? At least putting him on the bench, bringing him on for 15, just seeing what's what. I know that he did play he came on in extra time, I think, against Norwich in the League Cup. I went to that game and he missed a penalty. And it was the chance that it was like penalty shootout, step up Parrott, score your goal, turn around and hopefully that's the start of your Spurs career, like really kick off. But he missed. And it's just like, wow, that's really going to dent him now. And it's almost like you felt Mourinho almost smiling and smug, like, yeah, told you, he's not ready. He's not ready. So fair play to the lad for sort of stepping up. But yeah, no, I could see him probably leaving. I can see him probably like someone coming in for him, like maybe a championship club, like a QPR or something, going there and doing bits, and maybe he'll come back in a few years. But loan would be doing what Kane did in the early days. Loan him out, get him some game time. There's no point in having him at the club if he's not playing. If he's got that much potential and people talking about him so well, then loan him out. Let's actually see him in action at a slightly lower level. If he can do bits there, then there's a potential that he can do bits in a higher league. But there's no point in him sort of sitting in the youth team playing youth games all the time. If he's good enough for the full professional top dogs, then yeah, let's see what he's got. But nothing's happening, and I'm surprised that Spurs haven't just loaned him out. Then, if they're not going to play him, just send him out. I want to see him. I want to see him in action.
That would make sense to just see him in action if you're not going to play him. I feel like that about United youngsters, like Gomez, for instance. I put in that category. Like, if you're not going to play him, loan him out. Let's just see how. We're never going to find out how good these youngsters are until we see them in action.
There is an element, of chucking them in the deep end and seeing what they've got. Like, for example, I put Mason Greenwood in my dream team this year and he hasn't played enough. I only did that based on the fact that I only had $1 million left. But Solskjaer was like, yeah, we're going to play youth this year. So I was like, oh yeah, Greenwood's going to definitely get time. He's played a few games and scored a few goals, but that's what I mean. He can cut it. He looks a really, really good player. Why can't Spurs do the same?
As a United fan, Ollie's lied to us all before. Like, he's deceived us all. Like, don't get him mistaken. Don't take his word for it. Like, he's deceived. Let's not even get into that. Like, the amount of shows we've done where it's been Ollie in, Ollie out has been the debate. Like, that's a whole circus in itself. But yeah, it's kind of like that. Is Greenwood's the same? Like, he should be back up to me, but that is there. It is what it is. I don't understand why Ollie wouldn't play him more, considering how many goals he scored and his performances in the short space of time that he has played. He's had impact. He's in double figures. I don't think he started 10 games, but he's in double figures.
Looks really, really good. Really good.
Yeah, he is. So, off of the Spurs talk, what is your opinion on what should happen to the season? Do you think it should be voided? Do you think that they should wait for it to come back? Or do you want to see it back sooner? Like, what do you think should happen in terms of league titles and relegation and things like that?
I think it should literally just carry on as it was and just finish the season. I really don't understand why everyone or why anyone would have any other opinion, unless you're a United fan and don't want Liverpool to win the league. That's probably the only reason. And relegation battle teams that are just afraid of going down. Oh, 2 seconds, sorry. Finish the season, man. Like, why are we? What are we sort of 80% the way through? Let's finish the season, like, and end it properly, because we'll only look back on this season, and if we just voided it as it was or did the whole points per game thing, I think teams, we just need to finish it as it, because trying to get my words out, I'm trying to think of the best way of describing it, but if you void a season, it's always going to be that mystery, isn't it? Like, Liverpool, if Liverpool have a dud season next year and they never actually build on that. But I don't really want to see Liverpool win the league. I don't want to see anyone win the league other than Spurs, of course. But it's a nice change if Liverpool do, and they thoroughly deserve it as well. But there's no point in trying to rush through or void a league to make way for a season that hasn't even started yet. Why are we trying to get there? Because there's so much of this season done, and it's written and it's done. So let's finish the 20%. They're professional footballers. They can play twice a week. Be it behind closed doors, let them do it. Let's get Amazon or the Premier League and all the other sort of, Sky, BT. Let's just give the fans something to just sort of get through these crap times and even have a game every single day for the next until map it out in a way, and however it means, a few teams being based at Wembley, a few teams being based at the London Stadium, wherever it might be, just get the season done, because there's no point in voiding it, because it's just, there's so much of it already complete. It doesn't suit me as a Spurs fan, but in a way it does, because we went so long without Kane and Son in the team. I'm sure they're probably all good now, so we might have a better chance of sneaking into sort of fourth or fifth. It is fifth, isn't it? The Champions League now. Is that been confirmed? Because
I'm not sure. Stroll. This is Stroll. You'll know this. You the stat. Oh, you know this. Let us know what's going on with fifth.
Shaking his head.
Yeah, no, it's so the issue is obviously with coronavirus and stuff like that is they were meant to be going to the sport of arbitration, but they can't. So as it stands, technically, because they're appealing, they might still be able to sneak back into the Champions League next year, and the ban kicks in the year after. It just depends on how UEFA want to play it, because UEFA are putting a lot of pressure on the Premier League and other leagues to get the leagues finished, and the plan is they plan to finish the Champions League in August, and the final the 27th of August or something along those lines, and then the plan is after that is domestic seasons then start again end of September, October, get rid of international friendlies for the first couple of months and stuff like that. So UEFA are putting a lot of pressure on it, but it should be fifth. It's just however UEFA plan to play it with City. As it stands, they probably are still going to be in the Champions League next year.
Well, yeah. I mean,
there you go.
Yeah, as a Spurs fan, I guess just happy to have our better players back from injury, and we can maybe press on. We'll see. But yeah, it has to finish this season, definitely.
It has to finish. So you're all for like the neutral venues and things of that nature. So what's your thoughts on then players like Aguero came out and said that he was against? Well, he's not. Players are scared. That's what he was saying. What's your thoughts on that? Like, if a player refuses to play for like safety reasons.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, they're not puppets on strings. They're entertainers as well, but they are sportsmen and they're professionals as well, and their health should be put first, foremost. So health first. But if we are seeing a complete reduction, and we're talking about sort of like getting all these tests done. If players can be sort of quarantined for the remainder of the season, I know it's not ideal for like families and stuff like that, but they're paid a hell of a lot of money, like a hell of a lot of money for what they do. I've paid to play football, so they're the opposite, and they're getting really well paid to play a very, very good game. I think health first. So if we can get over the next few weeks, and the FA can bring in, the FA and Premier League are absolutely loaded. Let's just get every single player a test. But then in a way, that sounds really selfish of me to think that, because there's probably people that are non-professional footballers and key workers and people that also need tests as well. So I think it is a health first thing. But at the same time, connected to football clubs, there's a lot of jobs as well that probably will need doing. So that will, get people back into work in some way, shape or form. It's a fine balance, isn't it? Yeah. I think the selfish part of me, wants football back. Get out there, do your job, and let's be entertained. But there's a compassionate part of me that says, right, let's just make sure everyone is healthy first before we crack on with it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Go on, JV. I know you're going to chime in.
No, I was just thinking, as someone who's involved with football, at the level you are, do you think? Because what I'm getting from a lot of the talk that football will be back soon. Germany's just gone back, blah blah blah. Do you think it's viable for football to come back? Like you said, you made a very good point there with people in the clubs who do jobs, and there's other things that maybe fans or even us three here might not realize, that you would be like, well, that can't happen because this person needs to be there because you're involved at football at that level. Do you think they would be able to pull it off at such a high level and not cause risk to people?
Yeah, I mean, if it's done properly, then yeah, I'm sure. I mean, because if you take football clubs and the players within that, it's a very, very small percentage of the country. So if they can organise like areas where teams can be quarantined, whether that be hotels or whatever. But I mean, I'm just answering this question. It does sound really selfish because I'm thinking about all the other people that probably need that level of care. There's probably a lot of homeless people out there that could do with that sort of similar treatment. So why are professional footballers who have already got a very nice roof over their head and have got a lot of money behind them, why are they getting the preferential treatment? So yeah, I'm in two minds now that I'm sort of saying the answer out loud. I would probably rather people that deserve or need it more get that sort of treatment and that test. But from a football point of view, yeah, you're right. Would it affect people? I think it could be. We've been in quarantine for a long time. If everyone's been doing it properly, I'm pretty sure that everybody is okay. There is obviously this sort of 2-week lag, isn't there, where you could potentially get it and not have it, or you could even have it and pass it on to someone. So there's always that chance. But I think for the benefit of footballers and their families, if the footballers themselves were to go into quarantine with the rest of their teams, everyone gets tested before they go into quarantine, then yeah, in theory, yes, everyone is safe there. On the pitch, everyone is safe as well. I think it can be done. Yeah, I think it could be done, but it would need a hell of a lot of organisation behind it. But yeah, definitely, it's definitely doable. But you never know. You never know. I think it would be a bit of an operation, and if they're saying like it needs to be done soon, like Stroh said, like it does need to, it needs to kick on soon if we're going to be able to finish the league, because there is a few games left. But yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I just want it all to just go. I'm sort of a bit fed up with it all now. Just
I think everyone is. I think everyone's football that. And
yeah, it is selfish.
Yeah.
It is selfish because like football is the last thing. And I was watching obviously Boris's announcement earlier, and there was nothing regarding sport. And quite frankly, it is the lowest. It isn't really important, is it? Let's be honest. But then connected to that, like I say, within sport is such a mainstream thing. There's a lot of jobs connected to it. So bringing it back will kind of help the economy at the same time. So it's always that balance. I feel like a bit of a politician, but I wouldn't want to go down this route. You do one thing, you piss off a load of other people. So yeah, no, leave me out of it. Pretend that never happened.
I fully hear what you're saying. And to everyone in the comments as well, we will be. I said this before. I'll say it again. We will be answering questions at the end. Obviously, we're just running through the show, but we'll answer questions at the end, and everyone can get involved in things of that nature. Stroh, where do you stand on it? Do you want to see it back? What do you think? Yo, Stroh, you was muted. Go on. Wait, one second.
Yeah. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go. Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is the problem: is you ask certain football fans this, you can't answer without it being selfish or without an agenda towards your team. So, I've never seen Liverpool win the league in my lifetime, and with 25 points clear, I obviously want to finish the season, but it has to be done right. And if they are going to do it, safety has to come first, because this isn't anything that we hopefully not, but this is a once in a lifetime thing. I don't think we'll experience anything like this in our lifetime again. The lockdown, the impact that coronavirus has had, shutting businesses down, people who have built businesses is taking a livelihoods away from them. So when you look at it like that, is football isn't really that important. It's more important things. But for me, as a lifelong Liverpool fan, who all I've ever wanted was us to win the Premier League title, it's everything to me. That's why you guys call me Statman, MI5, everything, because I'm keeping an eye on every little source to find out everything that's going on. So I know personally. So it's like you see it in the group chat with obviously Aaron, Nuruddin and people like Miles. You see me every day. I'm putting updates in there of certain things that people have told me and certain things that I'm looking at. So yeah, like I want it done. The plan is, one of the plans was to basically, you'll have certain grounds where you'll be playing at. So Liverpool could, for example, be told that you're playing at Wembley and Brighton, and they're the only two teams or two grounds you're going to be playing at. You're going to be staying at this hotel for 4 weeks. You're going to be tested twice a week, and transport's going to be monitored. And I mean, looking at everything from changing room facilities to the size of the actual tunnels and just every little thing, just to make sure they can proper monetize it and make sure that everything is safe for the players. But obviously, if players aren't comfortable with it, then you've got to make a decision. But from a Liverpool point of view, I want the season to finish, but only if it's going to be done safely.
How would you feel?
I hear what you're saying.
Oh, sorry.
Go on. No, it's cool. Go on, Smiv.
I was going to say, like, there's also the scenario of just ending it as it is. So Liverpool could win the league if they just say, there you go, points per game, for example. How would you feel if you were just given it now off of the basis of what you've done up until now? Do you feel that would feel like a bit of an empty win? Or would you still take it? Because you're obviously going to win
honest,
it. You're not going to not win it. You're not going to mess it up. But if you were given it after, what is it, 29 games are we on, or 30 games? Do you not think 29. That would feel a little bit of you didn't actually really win it, did
you? Because that would always be thrown at me from these two probably, and every other United fan. That experience.
I will as well. I will.
Unfortunately, living in Manchester. But it's one of them where all I've ever wanted is to win a Premier League title, and I don't care how we win it. I just want to win it. I need to see us win it. Don't get me wrong, it would feel weird looking, because you look at, obviously we've all seen it, there's no sport in Premier League years is on constantly. It's how would you do this Premier League year? It's got to a certain point, and Liverpool handed the title. It wouldn't feel right, but personally, I'd rather go out and win it. If they can't do that, if they go on the points per game, fair enough, because we are going to win it, and that's never in doubt. But yeah, it'd be a bit disappointing.
I hear what you're saying. Would there be an asterisk against it? Yes, there would. Like 1,000%, there'd be an asterisk against it. Can't say the word, but use my know what I'm talking about. Like there would be against it. I can see Stroll smiling. That's why I'm glad your mic's muted. But yeah, there would be. So with all that being, I can see JV cracking up as well. With that being said, you do deserve it, but I don't think it can be awarded to Liverpool if they haven't won it, because then if they award it to you, cool. But then what happens to Champions League places? Relegation to Championship, promotion to the Premiership, relegation to League One, promotion to the Championship, etc., etc. All the way. Like these could cause leagues to. These could cause, like I've said before, these could affect leagues years on year, like not getting promoted now. Say, for instance, someone like Leeds. I don't want to see Leeds in the Premier League, but they was in this position, I think, last season and then didn't end up getting promoted. So it's like, how can we then say, all right, well, you're in this position now, so you're going to get promoted? I think they just have to avoid it. And that's me talking from a non-biased standpoint. The fact that Liverpool not winning the league with them being voided it is a great bonus. Like it's a fantastic bonus. But you can't do it. Like someone said in one of the comments that I put up here, and was like that you have to have paramedics and everything at certain games, at all the games, and people from the NHS. The NHS can't do that. Go on, JV.
No. So that point what you just made, then it's a very good point. I've not even thought of that. So then, this is why it might not even work, because you're further stretching something. This is me saying it might not work if it gets put back on anytime soon. For me now, what you've just said, you've made me realize the way this season can only finish is when all of this is done, because I don't think. All right, then they're basically telling us that NHS workers are, this is going a bit off football now, but they're telling us that NHS workers are, working day and night, and there's not enough of them, and the wards are overcrowded. So then, can they afford to have paramedics and nurses, doctors present at grounds where that is really, it's a luxury, isn't it? It's not something that is vital in terms of what's going on right now. As we have come to say on the show, we've got a little saying, there's things that are bigger than football. This is ultimately, godlike compared to football, simply for the reason that it's cancelled football. So I can't see us. You've just actually, that point, whoever made that point in the comment, Daniel Bowyer, yeah, I can see it there.
Yeah. I'll answer our questions at the end. We're going to go through all the comments and questions at the end. People, go on, JV.
He is spot on, because there is no way possible that this season can go back, carry on, because they will need to have it. Like Smith said, we might be having, matches every day or a match every 2 days, or they're going to have to cram in all these fixtures, and you're going to have a dedicated set of match day nurses, doctors, paramedics when they're already being overstretched. yeah, it's not going to work. Can't see it working.
That's my point. That's my point exactly. And we all want to see football fans across the world want to see the Premier League come back, like no doubt. But it's not at the expense of life. Like some things that like football is a luxury. It's not an essential thing. Like yes, it's essential to our lives, but we can't live without it. We just struggle with it. Like we're all missing football, but we can't just put it back on just because we miss it. And then, because football could cause a second wave. This is what people don't realize. It literally could cause a second wave. I'm just going to run through some of the comments now. Yes, sir said, yeah, you will see it when it comes up on the screen now. There we go. What does Smith think about Mourinho showing up to M Dumbele's house? Smith?
Yeah, silly, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think there was three of them, like him, Eric Dyer, and someone else in a park, just like training still. Like this was right at the beginning.
In the big
right at the beginning. I think people have started taking it a bit more seriously. But now I think we've starting to come out of it again. I feel like, I went shopping the other day and the roads were so busy. It was like a normal Saturday to me. So it feels more relaxed. I think people are just a bit bored and they're just trying to get out. But listen, yeah, right. It's typical Spurs getting shown up in the papers is normal, isn't it? Just, yeah.
Faris says, what's your thoughts on Steve Bergwijn too?
Yeah.
Bergwijn.
Another one that scored on his debut, I think.
How good do you think he is now, and how good do you think he could be?
I'll be honest, I never really watched him before, so I didn't really know what he was getting. All I, you get the YouTube clips up, looks quick, and he does look quick. He does look pacey. Whether he's going to be one of our long-term players, I can't see. For some reason, I don't know. I just feel like he's going to get moved on quite quickly. I hope he doesn't. He looks quite good. I've not really seen enough of him, to be honest. He's only just come in, so we haven't seen enough football to really judge what he's going to be like in the Premier League. But yeah, no, he looks lively, looks keen. So yeah, let's hope he does some bits. We need it. We need some good players.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what we were saying. Shout out to you. Yeah, problem with getting the season finished is every game needs a certain amount of paramedics and an ambulance, which can't be taken away from the NHS. Yeah, and I think everybody, even the person who wants football to come back the most, has to agree with that. Like you can't disagree with that. Like you can't really put a strain. Like we've seen what's happened with the NHS and things like that. Like we can't. And Strong, you were saying when I was talking about the league needs to be voided. Like that's not my Liverpool like being biased against Liverpool. Like that's just me just really saying like it should be voided. Like Liverpool not winning the title, it's just a great addition to it. But it needs to be, because I don't see until there's a cure for this. I can see JV cracking up over there. Until there's a cure for this, we can't do anything until there's a cure. Because then what happens? Like it came out today that a third Brighton player got it, and then what happens if all it takes is for teams to be like, all right, it was bottom of the league, Norwich, and we've had an outbreak, we can't play.
Well, did you see that the other day? It was sorry to interrupt it. I think it was the German league supposed to be coming back soon, isn't it? And then I think one of their teams has come out and said, "Oh yeah, loads of our players have got it, and they're gonna have to go in for isolation for 2 weeks." But then the league starts back in a week or something. I think it was like that, along those lines. So it's one of those. I've even seen people comment and say, "Oh, you could even use that as an excuse." But the funniest thing is, you'd never know. It would be very farcical and controversial and irresponsible if a team was to do that. I doubt they are doing that, but it could even be that. So like Germany's we'll be back on in a week. What if there's about 3 matches in succession, they're all going good, and then 3 players from those teams end up ill? It will all get called straight back off again, and then it would further put it back. So instead of maybe rushing to bring things back over here, I think we might as well. You know what they might as well? They might as well say next season is finished. Yeah, you know what you can do? You can play your cup competitions and that. The league might be finished, whatever. We'll literally wait till this is done and we'll finish off. Basically, we'll finish off this season. You know what I mean? Next season, because if you look at it now, we're in what month are we in now? We're in May, so we're probably approaching the end. We're at the end of where this normal season would have been. Yeah. If this goes on till like a Christmas, I mean, say we fully come out of it at Christmas, yeah. And well, if there is a Christmas, but yeah, if we come out of it at Christmas, and you know, what would happen for next season? Then you can't start a season, then can you? Do you get what I mean?
That's my whole point of why they should void it. Like, that's my opinion on it, because it's like, how long is it going to last? I was all for the season coming back. If they turn around tomorrow and it's the 11th of May tomorrow, and they came out and the government was like, or the NHS, whoever was like, yes, we have a cure for the coronavirus. We have a cure for it. So all you have to do is isolate for 2 days. You take this pill or this tablet or whatever, and you're fine. I'm with the league coming back. I am with it. My issue is that there's no, how are you, it's just wild that people want football to come back when there's no cure for this disease. So once you have it, you have it. And it's like, the thing is, and what's crazy about it as well, people are forgetting, it's not like you get symptoms. It's not like, oh, you lose loads of weight or you're automatically sick. They say you can have it and not know you have it. So that's dangerous in itself, because you are unsure and you can infect people easily, especially in a contact sport like football. That's why they just need to avoid it until we have a cure. And then if it happens, it's August, September, they find the cure. Just start the season again. Go on, Stro.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say, so issue is what the Premier League have basically come out and said is that there's so many implications and ramifications if we don't finish this long term. So obviously I've mentioned it contractually, TV rights, loads of stuff like that. But issue is, for example, a lot of people are saying, and listen, I can understand why, like, look, come back when we can and just start next season. Issue is, if we're going off that basis until we get a cure, it's not going to be for another 18 months. And that's what the Premier League are worried about, and that's what the government are worried about, because realistically, the government are looking at it like the economy is in a mess at the moment, given everything that's happening. We need to kind of rebuild that economy. And right or wrong, I'm not a politician. I don't necessarily agree with everything that they're saying, but they're the ones that are putting a big push on it as well. So, yeah, it's a weird situation to be in. And I just want people's safety to be first more than anything. And if we can get football back and it is done correctly and it is done safely, then I'm all for it. But yeah, it is what it is.
I hear what you're saying. And just one question here before we finish out the show. Charles Faris, he says, I think Mason Greenwood should get loaned out if we decide to keep Agallo or acquire another forward. Do you agree? Yeah, that's what I'd rather see. Me personally, I'd rather see, Greenwood be back up. What do you think, JV? Obviously, as the other United fan on here.
I would personally, I think there's no way I'd want to see Greenwood loaned out. I think if this season's anything to go by with the amount of injuries we've had, people need to realise that we're going to need, if we count in Rashford, let's just say we count in Rashford as a striker. Yeah. So I know he's on the left wing now. But let's just say we count in Rashford as a striker, Martial, Ighalo and Greenwood. We're going to need all four. Yeah. We're going to need all four simply because if there's injuries, Greenwood can move out to the right. Rashford plays on the left. If something happens to Rashford, Martial can play on the left, and then Ighalo can become the main, or Greenwood can do that. You get what I mean? So if we have the options, then it's a lot better than just say, loaning out Greenwood. I personally think Greenwood has been dealt with and managed, to say this is his first season, very well, because we've all been banging on about, Michael Owen playing young and getting too many injuries. Rooney playing young, burning himself out. I think Greenwood could easily still be one of those players like that who gets, because he's so good, he could get overused at a young age and it could then come on to hurt him later on in his career. If you look at the amount of matches he's played and the amount of goals he's scored, I'd say it's a very good turnout for your first professional season. If the season finished right now, or say, for instance, it did come back and he didn't play any more games or something, he got an injury or whatever, those numbers look very good and he's had a very good experience and he could build on that the next season. So that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, fair enough. I hear that. The reason, obviously, why I went to JV being an over United fan, it's like a United-based question, that's all. But Smiv, obviously, before we finish and close out the show, after, obviously, I know you deal with partners and everything and things of that nature. What have you got planned? I know you're working. What have you got planned once we're off lockdown? like because obviously what you've done with Palmer's is phenomenal. So what have you got planned afterwards to continue to grow it?
Well, me and I've kind of stepped away from Palmer's for the time being. So
Okay.
I'm doing my own thing at the moment. So I had we had the little one come along. The channel itself, YouTube in general, was just a very tough place to sort of if you wasn't on this sort of YouTube algorithm and meeting the criteria and everything, it's a very, very tough place to hold down a job. So I wasn't able to put in the amount of hours that I was with Palmer's before, so had to make the decision to sort of let that one sort of go to the side for a bit. Yeah, the team's still going. They're ready to go for the sort of next season because all Sunday League's been sort of voided now, which means we're still Essex Cup champions, which is great, fantastic. But yeah, we'll see for next season. I've heard Tomo, who's sort of heading things up for next season. He's come back because he left last year. He's coming back and he wants to get the team sort of back together. That sort of won everything because last season I think we lost a few players. We had a new gaffer. Yeah, it just wasn't the same. So yeah, I think they're looking to sort of bring back the glory days from the season before. Have been asked if I want to film, and I need to sort of make a calculated decision on that really, because I've obviously got my own thing going on my own channel now. Sort of do me on the road series where I travel the country and go to different games every week. So that's keeping me occupied. So to do that and Palmer's at the same time will be very, very tough. So it's working out whether it is doable. Obviously, I would love to bring it back because it's a great laugh doing it. But yeah, we'll see.
Fair enough. Obviously, like you said, starting with partners and now you branched out to do your own thing. So, like, I'm sure that will be a success as well. Let everybody know where they can find you across all social media platforms and what and what they can look forward to going forward.
Yeah, man. So, just type in Smiv, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, of course. So on the road, basically a series, go to different football grounds. Rate the experience in terms of the facilities, the atmosphere, the food and drink, and the cost. Create a little league table. Everyone gets involved. They're sort of like, it's all on my opinion, but people love it. They love the journeys. They love the sort of the comedic value throughout the games as well. I really enjoy it. That's the main thing, and that's my recommendation to anyone that sort of tries to make content on YouTube. If you don't enjoy it, but you're just doing it to try and get some views, that's probably the wrong way to go about it because you burn out. But I genuinely wake up on a Saturday morning looking forward to traveling 300 miles to go and watch some dead non-league game because you don't know what's going to happen, and it's a real good laugh. So. Yeah, on the road, that's my series. That's my new Palmer's thing. Palmer's was the sort of set the stage for us. Everyone sort of found out who I was through that. And I've took that sort of commentary-based thing and implemented it into the on the road series. And it's interesting because every single ground you go to, you pick up new viewers straight away because there's communities behind, obviously, not only just the big clubs, but the small clubs as well. And this is the small clubs that get involved more so. The non-league clubs, they love it. So if we can go to more non-league games and promote what's going on down there, the better, especially during this time as well. That there's going to be a hell of a lot of non-league clubs going under, which is such a shame.
Yes, that's true.
If you think about the pyramid, sort of, if the bottom's crumbling, then the top could as well. You never know, and it could just end up with a Premier League and Championship because League One and League Two, their clubs, they do fork out a hell of a lot of money. But are they bringing it in? No. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, on the road on my channel, that's pretty much it really. And I do some vlogs as well. I vlog my life, which is very mundane, just me being a dad. But people seem to like it for some reason.
I'm sure your character. I'm sure it's good because I'm gonna check it out. So I'm sure it's good. I'm gonna subscribe and check it out.
It is good. It's good.
Nice
yeah,
one.
I could imagine. I'm definitely gonna check it out. But yes, people, make sure you follow Stro, JV, and myself across all platforms as well. If you are listening to this on Pi Radio, immediately after when the show finishes at 8 p.m., go to YouTube Sarcasm City, and the video will be up. Obviously, we've ran this live on YouTube just to trial it, so we're working it out. Smiv, we appreciate you coming on a lot. Thank you. We'll have you back anytime you want to get stuff off your chest. If you're mad about anything Spurs or football related, just contact us and we'll get you on and you can just go for it for an hour.
Yeah. If Mourinho's in charge, then I'm sure I'll be on a few more times.
Well, on that note, we'll leave it. Yo, salute to everybody who's tuned in.